Hi everyone, thanks for joining in. I'm so excited to have C. D'Angelo joining me today. Welcome, C.
Hi, hi, thanks for having me.
C. D'Angelo is the women's fiction author of The Difference and The Visitor. We're not writing relatable stories of the Italian American culture. She can be found at home in Florida, enjoying time with her husband, playing ukulele, drawing, crocheting, and partaking in a variety of other artistic endeavors. And just want to mention that I just recently finished reading The Difference and really loved it. Someone who's really interested in finding out family trees and everything, so that really intrigued me, your story.
Oh, great. That's wonderful news. I'm glad you
Mm.
enjoyed it.
So just wondering if you want to start off by telling us a bit about your books.
Yeah, sure. Well, The Difference is about a woman who feels very lost, yet has it all on paper. But she wants to go on an ancestry mission to try to find out more about her roots and why her Italian immigrant grandpa never wanted to talk about his past, which she feels could help inform her future and help fulfill her. Meanwhile, trying to save her romantic relationship she's in as well. And then The Visitor is coming out June 1st, actually, and that is about a woman who owns a new age store in New Orleans that is being threatened with destruction by her nemesis ex-boyfriend from high school. And she has to learn to depend on others and trust others to try to save her building. Meanwhile, meeting a new mystical customer that may change her life.
Mm. And could you tell me, have you got an Italian heritage yourself?
Yes, I do.
Mm.
Yes, on my dad's side. My grandpa actually was an Italian immigrant.
Okay. So some of the stories you've read, are they things that you've heard about or just something that you totally made up or?
They are the parts about the immigration and everything and the difference.
Mm,
It's not at all like my family,
mm,
but the values and the cultural messages that are carried on and things like that. That is definitely a lot
yeah,
from my personal life too.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's great. You can involve some of your own heritage in your books.
Yes, that's what I love to do. I mean, it's what I know, so you have to write what you
Yeah,
know.
exactly. And could you tell us, had you always wanted to be a writer?
No.
Mm,
Actually, I don't know if that's the common answer with authors, but no, I just thought it would be something fun to try to write The Difference.
mm,
Back in 2012, the idea came to me, and I just saw it as another one of my artistic hobbies.
mm.
So I thought, yeah, I'm gonna write this story, and it ended up being a much bigger project than I thought, and of course, a life-changing project. And now it's definitely a second career.
Mm, mm. And what were you doing before you started writing the book? Are you able to share that with us?
Sure, yeah, I'm actually a mental health therapist,
Okay.
and so
Mm,
much like my character in The Difference, again, I kind of wrote what I knew
mm,
for that first book, and so I still do that in the daytime.
mm. So how do you find time to do your writing? Do you set aside some time a day or?
It's very difficult, especially with a job like a mental health
Yeah.
therapy job. It's very
Mm,
demanding and draining and everything like that. But I make sure to have a consistent Sunday writing schedule.
okay.
When I'm in the thick of things, that's when I'm writing, that's when I'm editing. Editing, probably, I'm doing more than that, though,
Mm,
on nights and Saturdays and things like that.
mm,
But the actual writing is always going to be on Sunday.
mm. And when you went about writing The Difference and you'd finished writing it, how did you go about getting it published?
I actually entered some pitch parties on Twitter
Yeah.
and found some success there. I was with a small press for a little bit and then ended up self publishing The Difference after a while. And then with The Visitor, I wasn't sure which way I was going to go. I only queried probably 5 agents, something like that. And then I thought,
Mm,
I just want to get it out there.
mm.
And so I self published that one
Mm,
too.
mm, mm. And what sort of feedback have you had from readers?
I am so honored that people love the stories because now
Yeah.
I'm getting the early readers for the Visitor too.
Yeah.
And the number one comment is it's so relatable and they felt like I'm talking to them, which makes me so happy because I do write in first person, so that helps. But also that it makes them hungry. And so I guess writing about food is kind of my thing. That's what
Yeah.
I'm determining now with the second book. I don't mean to do it, but
Yeah.
that's just kind of what happens.
Yeah. And could you tell us a bit about how much research you've done for your books?
Yeah, for the difference, I had been doing my family history anyway, and so I knew a lot of what that entails. But maybe if I didn't know one little caveat, I would look that up. Most of the research for the difference was in more the immigration patterns and making sure I had all of the dates accurate because I was
Yeah.
dealing with a very different time period than my family and then when my grandpa came to the US. And then also researching Genoa, Italy, because my family's not from Genoa. And so I wanted to make sure that I was getting all the specifics for that area, including their cuisine, because all different parts of Italy have different cuisine.
So did you visit there?
I haven't.
You haven't?
No. I want to now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
after writing about it and studying it and everything, yeah, I have to go.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
To Genoa. I've been to Italy, but
yeah,
I've been
but
to Genoa.
not to Genoa. Yeah. Yeah. And what about The Visitor?
Oh yeah, so let's see. Well, I've been to New Orleans. It's set in New Orleans, and I should say the difference is actually set in New York primarily. And so I've been to New Orleans just a few times, but I didn't really need to research a whole lot with that. But I did need to research the Italian influence there because there's not a lot known about it, I think, in general, and even like within my heritage, unless maybe you're from there. So I wanted to always do that justice. With my books, I try to integrate in a lot of history and be very factual. So I want to make sure I'm getting every detail right.
Yeah. That's what I really loved about The Difference was the history that was in that. That was great.
Thank you.
And did you have someone who really encouraged your writing?
Well, my husband is really supportive and has been from the start, as well as my friends and my other family. And so I would say, and they still are, but then after I wrote The Difference, I started getting into social media with my author platforms and everything. And now I have so many wonderful author friends too.
Yeah.
So they are amazing, and I don't think I could do this without their support.
And could you tell us, are you working on something new at the moment?
I have my third book planned out, and I haven't gotten around to starting writing it. I think it's going to happen later in the summer because I was so busy with editing The Visitor and keeping up marketing for The Difference at the same time. Meanwhile, I have the day job, so it is a lot to manage. But I'm so excited to start writing that third one.
And what do you like reading yourself? And just wondering if there might be anything you've read lately you want to recommend to us.
Oh, yes. I recently read Camille Pagan's Everything Must Go. It just came out in April. And so I love her books. I love her writing. She's a wonderful person. We've communicated. Her blurb is on the cover of The Visitor for me.
Yeah.
I think she's just amazing. And so, of course, I love that. I've really gotten into some nonfiction lately too. When I have a long drive to work, so I've been listening to some audiobooks that are nonfiction. But right now, as of today, I'm listening to Sophie Kinsella's Wedding Night, and so far it's pretty good. Yeah. I love her too.
Yeah, yeah, she has some good books.
Oh yeah.
And when you think about a successful writer, what does that look like to you?
I think it's different for every person. So I'll just describe what I would say is successful for me.
Yeah.
I want to touch people's lives with my stories. I want to have them escape for a little bit and have joy with that kind of entertainment. And I, have the goal of continuing to write. I want to write books for a long time, and I hope to reach some charts eventually, USA Today bestseller, New York Times bestseller. I'm going to shoot for the sky.
And what do you think makes a good story?
Emotion and detail. That's just how I go about it. I'm a really emotional person, and I pay attention and have paid attention as a therapist for all these years to people's emotions and behaviors and things like that. And so I find that pretty easy to convey in the books. And I hope that readers get that as well. But then also the amount of detail, that makes me feel like it's more of a quality piece of work. I don't like to be vague about things. I let the reader imagine things, but I like to, like I was saying about the history facts, I like to, integrate in a lot of little details that are important to me.
And when you start writing your book, do you know how it's going to end at the start?
I do. I'm a planner.
Yeah.
So what I do is it's an outline, but more so with the main character and describing that person, maybe a side character or two, but not in as much detail. And then the problem, the barrier, the stakes, and some of the resolution. And then within that, I'll just kind of loosely go.
Yeah. And how do you go about planning that? Do you just type it up on your computer, or do you write? I know some authors have little sticky notes and have a big long timeline. How do you do that?
Yeah, well, it starts on any piece of paper I have around, or on my phone notes, or an email to myself, or something like that. And then I put it all together eventually, and I have a document that I create. When I write a book, I usually have the outline, which is like, as I go along. Well, okay, I should back up. I should say I have the thing that starts like an outline, which is the ideas. Yeah. And then it turns into an outline as I write the book. And I have it on the bottom of the body as I'm typing. And so every chapter, I just kind of fill in, okay, no, this happened, no, this happened, no, this happened. And I transfer to a big document. So I always have those two going on.
And I've got a few people watching, so just reminding the people watching, if you do have any questions, please type them and I'll read them out. Belinda wonders, who has been your favourite character to write?
Oh, it's so hard. Probably Rachel, because she was my first. Yeah. Rachel. Yeah. And I think she's really complex. And I tried to show a lot of the different innuendos when you have mental health concerns as well. And not all of them are too obvious to outside people. So I'm really proud that I was able to do that.
Yeah. And do you have any writing routines?
Not really. I just I like to write usually in my art room. I have this room that I'm at a desk right now, and I can write in here if I really need it completely quiet. But I love to write in this art room that I created because it's more light, it's bright and airy, and it just feels happier in there to be in there for 8 hours or something. So I'll just be in there and have some water and sometimes snack depending on the amount of time. But yeah, I don't really have a routine, which is funny for a planner like me.
And do you have a favorite snack that you eat while you're writing?
Not really, but I usually tend to go towards something like if I'm snacking in the day, like Goldfish or something quick like that, and carbs. Something with carbs.
And is there any advice you could share for a new writer?
Well, it depends on your goals, but if you want to be a published author, I would say just think of things as a marathon instead of a sprint. It's going to take a while. It is very tough, but be persistent and keep going, and you'll get there.
Well, thanks so much for chatting with me. Just wondering if you want to let people watching know how they can keep in touch with you.
Sure, thank you. It was so much fun to chat with you. Yeah, all of my social media accounts basically are C. D'Angelo author, without the apostrophe in the D'Angelo. And I also have my website, cdangeloauthor.com. And I'll always email back if you email me. That's c.d'angelo.author@gmail.com.
Well, thank you so much. And thanks to the people who joined in and asked some questions. Bye, everybody.
Bye, thanks.